Welcome to the session, and in this session let us discuss about some simple Java application with respect to Swing. So in the previous session we had discussed about the basics of Swing. Now let us try to apply those concepts what we have discussed in the previous session in form of simple Swing applications. And when I want to apply this Swing, I have got two ways to do this. The first way is I can develop a Swing as a desktop application, or I can develop this as an applet. So right now, remember what is applet. So in my previous sessions I had given you the basic of applets, what exactly applet is going to be, and how the applet should be used with a small example I have been discussed. Check out in the previous session. And now I can do it in these two ways. First of all, let us see how we are going to build a Swing application, simple Swing application as a Java desktop application. Then later on we will see how we can combine the Swing and the applet. And so in this first Swing application, you need to have the package import javax.swing, so that I can make use of all the classes or all the components in the containers which belongs to the Swing application. This is the first statement what you need to have. And now I'm just going to define the class as mySwing, and I'm going to have a constructor. Along with this constructor, I'm going to have a main function. I will just tell you what exactly you should do inside the constructor, but now just observe the main function what I'm going to have. The main function, I'm just going to have something called as Swing utilities. That is, now whenever you want to create a GUI graphics window, you need to call this as Swing utilities. Whenever you're going to have an graphical user interface Java application in form of Swing, now this is what the Swing utilities you need to use. And now I'm just going to call this as dot invoke later. That is, whatever I'm going to have, whatever the execution I want to make, it should happen right now. I'm not going to wait for any of the function to be called and to finish off its execution. Immediately I'm going to call this, immediately the GUI will start working at the graphics end. And inside this invoke later function, I'm going to pass a parameter as a thread. Just observe the parameter for this function invoke later is a thread what I'm creating. I'm creating a runnable thread using the new operator, and inside this function, the runnable constructor function, I'm going to call the run method. I'm going to call the run method, and this run method in turn is going to call the constructor what I'm going to define now. It's going to call the constructor, and this is what the initial setup you need to make. Now when I make this, whenever I'm going to pass a thread, a dynamic thread as a parameter for the invoke later, now this is where it is going to create me a thread as an event dispatching thread. If I am going to use the same way of creating a thread without parameter passing for this function, we are going to have it as a main thread. Now I don't want this to be the main thread now. I want this thread to be part of event dispatching thread. By doing this, I am going to make sure that Swing is going to be the event driven program. If I don't do this, then the thread what I am creating here is going to be the part of main thread. And when it is part of main thread, it will be not able to handle it as an event driven program. Hence I want the Swing to be an event driven program. For this reason, for the invoke later function, I am passing the runnable thread, or I am creating the thread as a parameter itself. And while creating the thread, I am calling the run method. And this run method in turn is going to call the constructor of my class. Hence now using this Swing utilities, as I told, which is going to enable the GUI code which is going to be created on event dispatching thread. This is going to create me the GUI code which is going to help me to interact with the interface graphics window. Hence, this is going to work in event dispatching thread. And now when I'm going to add this, so this Swing utilities is going to have two methods or two APIs. One is the invoke later, the second is invoke and wait. So when I call invoke later, immediately when the thread is called, it won't wait for the run method to complete its execution. Whereas if you want your run method to complete its execution, return the result, and later on you put it on the graphics window, then you need to use invoke and wait, and which should throw the exception, interpret exception, and invocation target exception. Now clearly understand these two functions. Now this function is used to start the GUI interface immediately without waiting for the run method or the constructor to return its result. Whereas if you want to wait till this execution of the function happens and you're going to display the GUI based upon the result and return values of this function, you're going to use the method invoke and wait. And now this invoke and wait is going to return the runnable object whatever I'm going to create here. Now these two functions takes the runnable object what I'm creating, and now this object is going to be part of event dispatching thread. Now, this is what you need to basically understand of a simple Swing application. Now once this is done, my main function is almost done. I'm not going to change much over here now. Now in the constructor what has been called, this is where I am going to decide what my graphics window is going to be, what I want to display on the window, what component I need to add, everything I'm going to do in the constructor. Hence, as that part, the first thing is I should be able to create a frame, the topmost frame, the heavyweight component, which will be the top level container for me. Hence, I am using JFrame as a top level container. I am creating an instance of the class and I am passing the parameter for the constructor as my simple Swing. Now whatever the window I am going to create, the window is going to contain this title. Now once I execute this statement, you can see I'll be able to create a window, but right now you can just see I've been reduced the opacity of this because just to indicate this window is not yet displayed. The window is created upon execution of this, but this is not still visible. It is created but not visible. If you want to make the window to be visible, you need to call the method setVisible to be true. By default, the setVisible or visible of a frame is going to be false. Now I want to visualize my window or the frame, hence I'm going to say dot set visible by passing the true as the value. Now the JFrame is the frame what I've created. Now this is the frame which I want visible, hence I'm going to say dot set visible and passing the value as true, which will make my window to be visible now. And now once I have done this, by default the window what I have created, nowhere I have mentioned what is the width and the height of the window is going to be. Hence it's going to use the default height and the width. There is no height, so I can say it is 0. And even the default width is also 0 because it has been used only to put this certain icons or the certain buttons of the window which I need to use. Hence by default the height is 0 and width is 0. Now if I want to give the different or the width and the height, if I want to set, I am going to use the function set size. So for this frame, that is JFrame dot set size, I am giving the width as 350 and the height as 200. And the first parameter is going to be the width and the next parameter is going to be the height. And now once this is done, I'm going to set what I'm going to do when I click on this cross button, the close button on the window, what it's going to do, what it should do. For example, I'm saying JFrame, that is this window, dot set default close operation. When I close the window, what operation should be done? So the frame should exit the execution, or should stay in the execution, or some other kind of operation should be performed. Hence, for this, you got four choices. The first choice is exit on close. Whenever I'm going to click on this close operation, I'm going to exit from my Swing application, or I'm going to say dispose on close. Now when I'm going to close this window, now only this window will be disposed. Or when I say hide on close, when I click on this close operation, the window will be hidden but not closed or disposed. And when I'm going to say do nothing on close, my program will run as usual, but the window will be closed, but my program will be keep on running in the same manner. Hence, I can pass this four types of parameters using the constants, the four constants which belong to the interface JFrame. This is what you're going to set, what you're going to do when you close the window. And by default, if you don't use this method, by default it is going to be exit on close. And now when I'm going to have this window is ready, now with this four methods, the window is ready with the JFrame as a top level container. And in this container, if I want to put a component, now for example, label is a component for me. If I want to put a label as a component in this container, I am going to create the object for the class JLabel with the reference variable as JLab equals new. I am going to call the constructor of a JLabel by passing the parameter as I am your first Swing. And once I have done this, so this will not be visualized on this window. I have been created a instance, and for this instance I have set what the text should be, but not yet displayed, because if I want to display this, I need to add this component, the label component, to your container. That is where I am going to say JFrame is the container. So for this container, I am going to add this component. Hence, I am going to use the add method. So which is going to be the method of an container class. It is going to be the method of an container class. Hence, now this is what I am going to get the output. And this is the very first simple Swing application, a simple application where I am going to display the message of my choice. And now, whenever you're going to talk about the Swing application, this is the application, this is the method which is available for you from the latest version of the Java or from the Java 5 version. Beyond that, or the prior to those versions, so this add method was not so direct. First, you need to get the reference of the current container pane, and for that current container pane, I was supposed to add the component. Something like this I was supposed to do. I was supposed to have the frame what I am using dot get content pane. The current content pane should be given the reference or should be taken the reference. For this reference, I am going to add the component what I want to have. So by getting the reference of the current pane only, I should add the given component. But for the version of Java 5 and the latest versions, you can directly add a component which will add this for the current frame container whatever I am going to use. This is what your Swing application is going to be when you talk about Java desktop application. Now if I am going to have a second way of doing this using the applet what I am going to use. And so now these are the packages what I want to use. So I am using Swing and the Swing package should be included. And I am going to make use of applet, hence the AWT package also should be included. I might use some events from the user which I need to address the events also or handle the events. Hence, I'm going to even include the awt.event classes also, the package also. And so this is a applet, and if you want to execute the applet from the HTML browser or the browser way of execution, you need to include this HTML tag, that is the object code, and I'm giving the name for my code or the swing applet as my swing applet. The width is 350 and height is going to be 200. This is the space what I'm reserving for my applet window, and I'm going to close the tag, and this entire thing should be in the comment section. Hence I'm going to put this in comment section. And now in this applet I'm going to have my class. My class name is going to be my swing app, which is going to extend the J applet. Remember this. So I'm creating a swing applet, and for this reason I need to extend the J applet class. If it was just an applet, not a swing app, if it just was a basic AWT applet, then I was supposed to extend only the applet class, not the JApplet class. This is the first difference, creating an applet and creating a swing applet. And so once you're going to have this, I'm going to override the init method. So usually when you inherit JApplet or the applet, you will be having these 4 methods which you can override. I can have init, start, stop and destroy, but it is going to be a simple application, a simple program. Hence I'm just going to use only the init. I'll be overriding only the init method in my swing application. So now with this swing application, whatever I'm going to have in it, so now I'm going to design my own user defined function called my GUI. Now whatever I want to put into my graphics window, it is going to be through the user defined function my GUI. Now whatever you want to draw, whatever you want to paint, it will be going through the my GUI function only, whatever I am going to put into this function. Hence whatever the paint method I was talking with respect to applet, now this paint method will be handled differently in the swing. That is by using my GUI or by using the advanced paint method. So in this is a simple application. I will be not discussing about the advanced paint method, but the same thing can be done using the my GUI user defined function. This is an user defined function, so remember this. And now with this I'm going to have my class. So now just observe here. Now whatever the void init I'm going to have, and in this init I'll be having my own user defined function my GUI, as I told. Now this will be called inside the run function, where this run function is going to be inside the thread, the runnable thread, and this runnable thread is going to be the parameter for the swing utilities and its function invoke and wait. Now what this is going to do, what this is going to do for you is that now I am creating a thread as a parameter for the invoke and wait. Now this means now whatever the thread I am going to create as a parameter for invoke and wait, now this is going to put into the event dispatching thread. By this is going to make my swing to work as an event driven program. If I don't do this, my swing will never be an event driven program, and it's going to be in the part of main thread. But now I am passing and creating a thread and passing a thread as a parameter for the swing utilities function. For this reason, now the thread what I have been created, it is going to be part of event dispatching thread. And now with this, what the swing utilities is going to do? The swing utilities is one which is going to enable the GUI code which is used to create on the event dispatching thread. And now this has got 2 methods. The first method is invoke later method. The second method is invoke and wait method. I am going to have two methods. If you want to immediately execute your GUI function or GUI program along with the run method in parallel, then you're going to use invoke later. The second way is you are going to call the myGUI method. It is going to have a set of instruction. It is going to execute all those instructions and returns back from its execution. And until that, if you want to wait and then execute or invoke the GUI interface, that is where you're going to use invoke and wait. Now this invoke and wait will wait to display the GUI content until myGUI function is going to complete its execution and returns back. That is where I am going to use this two method. Immediately, if you want to invoke GUI contents on your window, use invoke later. If it is you need to wait until myGUI or any method is going to complete its GUI operations, use invoke and wait. If you are building a Swing applet, this is the better way to do this, invoke and wait. And if you are building a Swing using a desktop application without an applet, then it's better to use invoke later. This is what you need to understand by this basic function. And this try and catch clauses, the exception handling, you can do the way you want. But I'm not exactly handling here, but if you want, you can handle this. Hence, I'm just going to have this function. Now, when I execute this init, when I create the thread, this is going to call the user defined function myGUI. Hence, now when this function is called, I'm going to just put a small label or a small text on my Swing applet. Hence, I'm going to have JLabel and JLab. I'm creating an instance for the class JLabel because I just want to put a text on my GUI window. And so now I'm just going to set the layout as new flow layout so that I can put the component wherever I want with the flow values. I can just float my component wherever I want. Hence I'm going to use the flow layout. And I'm going to have JLab, so which is going to be creating a new label, and the constructor is going to take one parameter called as I am your first Swing applet. I'm just going to pass this as the first parameter for the constructor JLabel. And now once this is done, so I'm just going to have a container which contains a text called as I am your first Swing applet. And now this component will be added for the whatever the current frame or container I'm going to have. Hence I'm going to have my applet. So applet is going to be started with the status as applet started, and I'm going to print whatever the message I need to have as I am your first Swing applet. Hence once this is done, now this is going to be a Swing applet for you. So thank you for this session. I hope this was useful for you.